Hey VC, what's up? VC, VK, VD, what's up? It's Nate again. Um, I went on a vacation, a week-long vacation to Massachusetts and Maine. We got it back about a week and a half ago. Um, Actually, it was last Monday we flew back in. Um, we flew into my wife and I flew into Boston on a Monday to make the trek, the slow trek north uh, to Maine on the Canadian border where my parents are living. That's where I grew up, and we had a family reunion, had a good time, and all kinds of stuff. I was going to get. Spoke to Rob from Boston on the phone briefly, and we were going to get together, but his work schedule was kind of hard, and I didn't really give him enough time, and I feel bad about that. I apologize. Next time I'm going up next year, and I'll give you plenty of uh, a heads up, plenty of time in advance. So anyway, yeah, I went record shopping, and yeah, I found quite a bit of stuff. I ended up having to leave a lot of it at my parents' house, but they'll be coming down because I had to fly, and I didn't want to have pay to have another check bag, and the one that I carried on was far too heavy to check. So anyway, um, so my parents will be coming down at Christmas time, and there's a big box I left them and they'll be driving. So, um, but anyway, yeah, let's just never mind me rambling. Uh, I'm kind of gonna get to them in no particular order. Uh, in Waterville, Maine, there's a store called the Record Connection. Um, I believe it's right on Main Street. I'm not sure. It's Waterville's a small town, but this place is pretty amazing because he's got a good stash. He's got a good selection on his first floor, which is all priced items, and the second store had a massive. Everything was $1, and I just kept pulling stuff out of there that it just record after record. It's like just stuff to fill your, to uh, if you had a hole to fill, just I found some interesting stuff. Some imports from these are the early '80s. It's from Europe. This is a debut LP magazine, and that's one with Ultravox on the cover. The Stranglers. Inside there's a magazine. This is all stuff my wife really kind of dug, and there's a record in it. Each one has about 10 to 12 songs from different artists featured in the magazine. Those were each $1. I got about 7 or 8 of those. That was pretty good. There was like a limited run. I think it had like 11 or 12 total. In the run of the history of the magazine. I also got. I'm not going to show everything because there's just too much. Dreams with Billy Cobham and the Brecker Brothers. Somebody put a sticker up here as if they couldn't read that. They kind of put that. I don't understand that. That was $1. And on the first floor, the guy had some really good stuff, which I picked up and is really good condition. I got an upgrade copy of Surrealistic Pillow. Mine was kind of the cover was kind of shot and beat up. It's an OG in stereo version. It sounds pretty good. Jim Carroll Band, Catholic Boy, with the author of the Basketball Diaries. I also picked up one Showdown, Albert Collins, Robert Cray, and Johnny Copeland. I had this CD in high school. It's on Alligator Records. Came out in about 85 or 86. I listened to that CD constantly in high school. I thoroughly enjoyed that one. Patti Smith, Dream of Life. This is I love Patti Smith. Almost anything she does is she's spectacular. That was one of her. Yeah, it was late '80s, 1988 on Arista. Badfinger, Ass, Carrots, Ass. Oh, anyway, this was an original one. Actually, when it was re-released, it wasn't on Apple. This one, however, is. I was quite happy about that. Good price too. Usually with Badfinger on Apple label, it's going to be between $8 to $10. This was about $5. I was quite pleased with the prices and at the Record Connection. Let's see. I went to Bull Moose Records in Portland, and I found a pretty cheap copy of the Power Station 33 1/3. This is a featured record on Grown Man Record Night. They play that quite often. I also got Blondie Eat to the Beat, which is one that I don't really have. It's not a great one. It's got some good songs on it, but it's one of her albums that I don't have. I also going back in time during the vacation, I went to Goodwill on Huntington Ave. It was either Huntington or Commonwealth. I don't know. I don't know the streets in Boston all that well. But it was a Goodwill, and I walked in. I wasn't gonna go in, but I figured I'd go check it out, and I scored some pretty decent stuff at like 70 cents each. Sting, Nothing Like the Sun. Both records in excellent shape. It's a 2-record set from '87. Igor Stravinsky conducts 1961 on 2i Columbia Masterworks. Very nice. Gotta love Stravinsky. He's just and then Janis Joplin, Pearl. I did not have this album. What I really was pleased about was finding Jailbreak by Thin Lizzy, still with the shrink on it and the hype sticker. That was all at the Goodwill. I was really so pleased. There was somebody in there before me looking at the same stuff, and he kind of put those two aside, and I just grabbed them. Jailbreak's got a bit of a scratch on it, and there's a couple clicks and a couple songs, but it doesn't skip or anything, so it's not too bothersome. Metal Torme. I Can't Give You Anything But Love. I had to pick that one up. The Velvet Fog. Alright, next door to, a couple doors down from, 8.5 minutes. Goodwill was a store called In Your Ear. And I found West, Bruce, and Lang, an album with, of course, Leslie West of Mountain. And I also picked up his album called Mountain, Leslie West. And I listened to side 1. It's really heavy stuff, man. Just like Mountain. This is a fantastic album. Jack Bruce on bass. God, it's, another one I heard about on Grown Man Record Night. And if you're not watching that on the YouTube or Ustream channels, you're missing out big time. I found this, $10. Leon Redbone Live. I'd never seen this before. Never seen this. There's some really great songs. Diddy Why Diddy, Please Don't Talk About Me, Crazy About My Baby. Leon Redbone, of course, famous for doing the all detergent commercials. This is on Greenstone Records. I've never heard of that label. It's a pretty cool label. But yeah, he's an odd dude. He's a really he's very eccentric, and he's hard to find biographical information about him. He's very, but his music is great. I think he's a really super humorous guy, great guitar player, and he's got that old time feel to him. The Mothers of Invention, absolutely free. The cover is it could be in better shape, but the vinyl was alright, so I picked that up. I was happy about that, because anything Zappa at a reasonable price, and considering Absolutely Free is one of the earlier releases. That was on Verve, so that was one of the earlier releases of Zappa and the Mothers. So, and I never see that one. I also got the Blues Project live at Cafe a Go-Go, and Blood Rock live, a double live album. I was just listening to this earlier. This is really good. In Portland, for some reason, we were just driving around, and Portland, Maine, of course. We were just driving around, and my wife caught out of the corner of her eye there was a sports collectibles store, and there was records in the window. She's like, "Hey, there you sell records." So I walked in, and I thought, well, he's probably just gonna have a box of old stuff. In the front, there was some stuff in there that was real. It was just not good. It was like a bunch of Herb Alpert records, and I think Kingston Trio and stuff like that. But in the back, he had some, and it was like $3 each. There was a bunch of Ray Charles albums. Modern Sounds and Country Western Music, Volume 2. I've got Volume 1. That's a very common one. This is fantastic. Ray Charles, Dedicated to You, and the mono version of it. This is a spectacular, really in good shape, still in shrink wrap, and Spotlight on Ray Charles. So, and I went to Bull Moose Music and Newbury Comics in both Boston and Portland. The one in Boston, I got the 2008 Rhino. Man, it's quite the glare. Rhino reissue of the Pogues, Rum, Sodomy, and the Lash. One of my favorite albums. It's like top 5 favorite albums of all time. It's one of those records I'll never get sick of hearing. From first track to the last is spectacular. I also got Bug. It was a 180-gram reissue by Dinosaur Jr. on this is on black vinyl. Not sure who reissued. It's on Jaguar Records. It was originally from 1988, and a couple years ago, it might be more than a couple, probably about 4 or 5 years ago, but now, they went on tour and promoted, they actually were doing this album in its entirety. Holy cow, they have, man, what a great band. God, Dinosaur is just, they're fantastic. J Mask is just a great guitar. They're all 3 musicians. They just blew me away that night. I got a copy of, and I haven't heard it yet. I haven't opened it. Velvet Underground, self-titled. This one has Candy Says, Pale Blue Eyes, Beginning to See the Light. So this is my second VU record. The other one being Loaded. I found this at Blue Moose in Portland. Joe Walsh, Analog Man. at 50% off. It was a $20 record. I think I got it $22. I got it for 11. I really wasn't gonna pass that up. And I also got the new album, which I haven't gotten around to listening to. I don't know. I've just been busy. Fucked Up, from Toronto, Ontario. Glass Boys. It's on Matador Records. Sorry, that's upside down. Yeah, and I've seen them live innumerable times. I think they're my favorite live band. They're pretty close anyway. And I was able to grab some of the albums out of my parents' basement that I had stored there for a couple of years. And I misplaced one. Yeah. Rubber Soul, which is in just absolute perfect shape. I paid a whole lot of money. It's a later pressing. It's like 1984, I think. Early 80s. It's on the Capitol Rainbow label. And I was really happy to get that. I paid a lot for an original stereo pressing at a record show not too long ago. It was a couple months ago. I also got Traffic, Mr. Fantasy, one of the great debut albums. I actually have that on a British pressing, which is just Traffic, I think self-titled. Somewhere I've got but now I've got that one. The album cover was really shot. But I've got something called this Ford Formula 45. I got this in 6th grade. This was 26 years ago. It was one of those television presentations. There's 4 records in it, and there's Mott the Hoople, Edgar Winter, Thomas Dolby, Blondie, Golden Earring, Bad Company, Al Stewart, The Kinks, The Knack, Grand Funk, Boston Toto, Little River Band. It's all great. It's all classic rock. It's stuff that kind of springboarded me into my enjoyment of other classic rock as I got older. So this was a very good starting point for me. And still, I think I recorded it onto cassette. I dubbed it onto there, and I never played it again. So I think they've only been played once, if not maybe twice. I also found my copy of All Things Must Pass. The vinyl's in very good condition. Man, the cover is not. It has some definite issues. It definitely needs to be worked on cosmetically, but the records sound good. I also found George Harrison's Living in the Material World. This is also, I think, that copy of All Things Must Pass was on Apple, and it also had the Apple Jam record, which has the odd Apple Jam label, which is pretty neat. And it had a booklet at one time, and I may have lost it, containing the story behind the Apple Jam. Whoa, 19 minutes. Alright, I'm almost done. George Harrison. This is on the also on the Apple label, Spirits of the Material World, and an upgrade copy of Four-Way Street by Crosby, Stills and Nash and Young. So that's it. Yeah, I had a good time, and I've been back working like a dog since I got home, so I haven't been able to make a video until now. So I will sign off, and I will see you next time.